Good morning and welcome to the show. It's Monday, and you know what that means. I've got Dr. Roman Nation here in the studio to give us some health tips.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, Doc. Thanks for coming on the show. Last time we talked about stress.
We did.
And we got a big response from that. A lot of people are interested in how can I manage my stress effectively, like me. I mean, you have to, you've got to, like, take yourself, for instance.
Yes, sir.
Here you are, you're responsible for a lot of people's health and welfare, and you've got to stay mentally sharp and mentally nimble all the time.
Pretty much.
I mean, you're on.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm only on when the cameras are going. After this, I'm going to go fall asleep somewhere. But you're on because you have a long day.
It's every day, and it's not even then. It's, the people call in the middle of the night when they're on call, and during residency. I mean, that's an extremely stressful time for docs in training. When you're literally called at 3 o'clock in the morning, saying, this is what's happening with this patient. What should we do? And in a dazed state, you're having to try and reorient yourself pretty quickly to that kind of stuff.
Because we've all been there. When you know the information, and it's just hard to access it sometimes.
Right.
And how do you do that? How do you get that mental toughness?
And some people, old people who were trained in residency years and years ago, think that it's a trained effect. That if you just do it long enough, that you can learn to think on your feet when you're tired. And unfortunately, that's really not the case. That's why residency hours have changed over the years. To where they're, it's kind of funny in retrospect, because when we went through residency,
just so people know what we're talking about, residency, sometimes you're up 24 hours, right?
Yeah, in residency is the time between medical school, when you graduate from medical school, and when you're in attending. So, like when you look at Grey's Anatomy and those types of shows are completely, like off the wall unrealistic. I mean, those guys are out in the middle of the day having coffee, and no, that does not happen ever. No. You're in the dark in the middle of, the ICU trying to suck down some coffee, to stay awake. But the mentality finally is changing, is that they used to think that you could just train yourself through that, when it's not. I mean, there is some mental toughness that goes there, but there's definitely not a way to actually train your brain to think while it's asleep.
There's really no substitute for sleep, right?
No. There's been lots of studies out there that look at sleep deprivation, and it's actually one of the things they're looking at now for, like, folks that are being deployed in Afghanistan and stuff like that. And it's where a lot of the airline pilot rules have come from, is that they realize that your body cannot sustain this stuff.
And even police and firefighters.
Right.
When I was a New York City firefighter, I remember I'd work all night long. Sometimes we'd run all night long, and then I'd have to work the next day.
Yep. Yeah.
And you're kind of sleepwalking through the day.
Yeah, no, and we were one of the first classes that went with what was called the 80-hour work week rule, meaning that you could only work 80 hours a week during residency. And then they further limited it to where you had, at least when we went through it, you had a 24-hour day, and then you had 6 hours to catch up, to tidy everything up before you could go home and sleep, and then turn around and show up the very next day. So, during that time, you were up literally almost 24 hours.
So what do you do to get yourself, if somebody's watching this now and they're like, wow, I'm under a lot of pressure at work and I have to be at peak performance during this block of time during my day, what can you do to prepare yourself for that?
Two main things. One of them is make sure you stay hydrated. And most people think I drink a lot of water, and when they actually look at how much they drink, it's less than 64 ounces of water a day. Somebody your size and my size would use anywhere between 3 and 4 quarts of water a day, and that's a gallon. Now, most people, when they start, they kind of have that same look on their face when they think about, really, I got to drink a gallon of water a day? You don't have to, but you work your way up to it.
What about a gallon of coffee? Would that work?
Well, coffee is mostly water, and so there's not a lot of bad stuff in there. Straight coffee is fine. There's a little bit of diuretic effect when you drink coffee. What kills it is when people go to Starbucks and they have frappuccinos, and then you're not having coffee. You're having sugar, ice cream, and milk and whipped cream and those kinds of things that are all high in fat and sugar content. And so when you don't have when you have high sugar content foods, it kicks off this reaction in your system where your sugar levels rise for about 30 to 45 minutes, and that's where you kind of get the rush. But then if your pancreas is keeping up, then it has an insulin surge. And then so about an hour later is when you have a crash.
So that's what they talk about when they talk about kids getting sugared up and getting hyper and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah. Give them about 30 minutes after that, and they're going to crash all of a sudden.
Yeah, we have to run off to local weather now, but this is fascinating stuff because I do want to learn more about how to achieve that peak performance without crashing and burning when it's all done. We're going to run off to your local weather, brought to you by the West Pittman Law Firm, westpittmanlawfirm.com. Welcome back to the show. I'm speaking with Dr. Roman Nation, and we're talking about stress, peak performance, and how to keep your body and mind healthy enough to make it through a day and maybe some stressful times. You know, Doc, we talked a lot about residency and how those rules have changed.
Yes, sir.
We talked a little bit about first responders, how they have to stay mentally awake and their sleep rhythms are all messed up from that.
Yeah, that can be a problem.
And then we've got military people. You know, a lot of them have to go through certain exercises. I keep bringing up my son, who's at the Naval Academy.
Yeah, survival
bragging
courses
rights,
and things.
and they've got all. He's got to go through this thing called sea trials, where they basically keep them awake for 24 hours while they're doing all these obstacle courses. Is that healthy?
Realistically, no. But the way that a lot of these programs are designed is they're designed to figure out who can keep up and who can't. You know, we have a spectrum of performance that people can do. And you know, you have some of the elite can perform at a higher level just because they're genetically wired that way.
Yeah.
You know, you can train through certain portions of it, but a lot of it, you get to a point where every system fails in every person. So
that's like special forces, you
know.
They weed those guys out pretty well, and gals, I guess.
They do. They push into the breaking point, and unfortunately, for the ones that make it, I mean, those guys they're steeled like nobody else. But at the same time, you have to wonder at what cost did it come for that, because it's not just the training regimen that they're doing; it also has effect on the families that they're taking care of, or the families that are trying to take care of them. You know, so people like with your autistic son and things like that. If you have a father figure, or you know, mother for that matter, who's gone because they're off on this, you know, extremely difficult training regimen, when you have a family member that needs that additional help at home, the family is what's going to pay for it.
Yeah, and those type of jobs really don't lend themselves well to family life.
No.
A lot of them are, you know, a lot of, say, special operations type people are usually single fellas, and they're, you know, predominantly male.
Yeah, or they're married, and the spouse is usually just used to taking care of the family while the other one is gone, which is, you know, is fine for a lot of things. A lot of Navy families live that way. In the long run, though, when they get to retirement, what the military is starting to figure out is that once they come back, then you have all these other different types of issues that come back when they're back to living together, and now you have a very different family dynamic.
You know, they talk a lot about different types of training and this type of endurance and mental toughness you need to have. Is it nature? Is it nurture? Is it more physical than mental, or is it just a good mix?
It's a little bit of both. The main thing with all of this is sleep. If you don't get enough sleep in your system, your body thinks that it's kind of on high alert all the time. And there's lots of stuff, the literature, as far as what in a chronic stress environment, how things start to break down. And we're all, you know, decently aware of it. You get more tired in the afternoon, you get more cranky in the morning, it's harder to get up. Your sleep becomes less restful.
People worry and they don't sleep at night.
Yeah, or they don't dream. Actually, if people who don't have REM sleep, that is where dreams occur. If you don't have REM sleep, your sleep quality is poorer.
What about sleep aids? Does that give you the same quality of sleep than just natural sleep?
Absolutely not. And that's one of the things that the sleep pathology folks are still working on pretty heavily. Is we do not have a medication that helps you induce a regular sleep cycle. We got things that'll put you asleep, but they actually still don't have the same quality of sleep.
It's like that whole crazy Michael Jackson propofol thing.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like he needed to go to sleep, so they knocked him out. And I guess if they were going to take out his appendix, it'd be okay. But if you're just looking to get, you know, a good night's sleep, that's not the thing to do, is it?
No, not at all. They and we have a lot of folks that. Getting some sleep is better than no sleep, but at the same time, if you can add some exercise and some hydration and some, you know, personal restoration time into your day, your sleep will get better.
That's so true, because exercise is so key to getting a good night's sleep.
Yeah, our system is designed to have periods where we have you know, high amounts of stress and then low amounts of stress. Well, most people don't ever get to the high and low portion of it. They just have this constant medium level of stress all the time. Well, if you don't give your body a break, you know, the way JT talks about it, he says you can't overtrain.
JT, your nutritionist.
You can't overtrain, but you can under recover, and it's the same kind of thing. Is that if you stress your system, but you don't give it time to repair itself, you know, things will start to break down, and that's where your sleep gets worse, and then things just, you know, get worse from there.
Dr. Nation, thanks so much for coming back on the show and getting us smart about stress and how to manage all that. And we'll see you again next week. And now off to your Max Biz tip by Zenobia.
Hi and good morning. Welcome back to Waking Up with Don. I'm Zenobia Andrews, your business system strategist, and I am excited to be here in the Max Out Studios bringing you your Max Biz tip for today. You know, all week long we've been talking about what are the 5 steps in maxing it out. In today's tip, we're talking about how to dream big and to create your own opportunities. You know, I'm here to share with you, my friend. I want you to take a moment, just a brief moment, and think about your business. What does it look like? Where is it located? How many employees do you have? And then see yourself making the millions and millions of dollars that I believe that you can make. I'm here to tell you that there is power. There is power in dreaming, and not watered down dreams. I mean big, unimaginable dreams. You see, I believe that once you get to dreaming big, once you realize that it's never too late to see yourself as the CEO, as the big kahuna, that's when you can start creating your opportunities in life, right? And we're not going to wait. I don't want you to wait for someone else to create you an opportunity. I want you, if you need to make some sales calls, to make the sales calls. If you need to go door to door to get those contracts, go door to door, because those opportunities are waiting for you. Nobody, my friend, nobody is going to care about your dream, your success in life, but you, okay? I'm Zenobia Andrews, your business system strategist. I am here to support you. So if you need a business coach, I am here. You can reach out to me at www.zenobiaandrews.com. I would love to connect with you on social media. You follow me, I'll follow you back. Take care and continue to press towards the max.
Welcome back to the show. I'm here with an old friend, Marta Rose Thorpe from Harley Davidson of Panama City Beach. And what's going on out at Harley? I mean, there always seems to be some sort of event going on.
There's always something,
Yeah.
Don.
I mean, I had to suck it up and be a judge at that Miss Harley pageant.
That was pretty rough for you, too.
It really was. It was hard work.
But thank you. Thanks to you, we have some beautiful Harley girls. Our winner, Miss Harley Florida, all the ones that came after her.
Yeah.
It was, I saw a little smile here or there, I think.
Somebody's got to do it. You know.
We survived Bike Week. Thunder Beach was magnificent this year. There was a lot going on at Harley Davidson. And now I'm here to talk about a very unique women's event that we have going on. It happens twice a year, and it's next Tuesday, May 20th. It's called a garage party.
A garage party. So what's going to go on at this garage party?
It's an evening event. I think of it as a ladies' bike night. 6 o'clock p.m. the ladies sign in. From 6:30 to 8:30, we have them go around and move in different stations. They're going to learn about picking up a bike, how to find the right bike, how to accessorize, and what kind of things should you wear.
Accessorizing.
Ladies
that's
love
key.
accessories.
Of course you do.
And Harley Davidson has a lot of accessories.
Now, do you have to bring your own bike, or can you just show up and?
No, this event is for future riders, non-riders, new riders. Maybe you've ridden for years. This is for every woman that it's ever possibly been on her bucket list to feel what it feels like to ride a Harley.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of ladies are used to riding on the back.
Absolutely,
with boyfriend or husband or dad or whomever.
That's right.
But it's quite different to have your own.
It's that sense of power and being in control. It's feeling that strong bike.
Yeah.
And it's hearing it. And it's a sense of freedom, you know.
Yes,
live
I was
to ride,
going to hit
ride
on
to live.
that. Yeah.
So we're going to teach ladies about the whole Harley culture, the riding culture, kind of erase some of the stigmas maybe with who the biker is. You know, it's not who you may think it is. There's going to be refreshments. We've got some great vendors, some door prizes, some goodie bags.
Awesome. And when is that again?
That's next Tuesday night, May 20th, from 6 to 8:30 p.m.
At Harley Davidson out on Panama City Beach.
That's right.
You know, so there are some stereotypes about biker chicks.
Well,
I guess
there are.
People need to dispel.
There are. I mean, women who ride Harleys these days, it's the girl next door. They're all American. They're professional. They're successful. They're classy.
Yeah.
It's not who you may think. And I actually have a couple of friends that we're going to bring on that I want to meet you and talk about what it means to be a female rider today.
Yeah, and like you said, you're always used to the ladies being on the back, but now there's nothing more that screams feminist to me than a chick on a bike.
Ladies today are independent.
Yeah.
You know, they want to be unique. They want to do something that's a little different. Maybe they're tired of the routine and you're ready to jump in and get a new exciting, thrilling hobby. Whatever it is, why not add riding a Harley to your whole repertoire of life?
And this garage party could be a good introduction to that, can't it?
Absolutely, that's what it is. For non-riders, future riders, I call them future riders, it's a good introduction. It kind of paints the picture of who we are, what we have to offer, what this might feel like. And then if you're thinking of buying a bike or have recently bought a bike, maybe you are about to take riding lessons. By the way, Harley-Davidson also has our riding academy that you can take lessons right there and learn to ride in 4 days. But this will just introduce you to all the different aspects and details of riding.
And you'll have professionals guiding you along every step of the way.
Absolutely, and you'll get to network and meet other women who are doing the same thing and want to ride also.
Lotta Rosethorpe, thank you so much for coming on the show. And I'm dying to meet your friends and let's see who the types of people are that are female riders nowadays.
Okay, fantastic.
All right, and we will be right back after these messages. Welcome back to the show. I have a couple ladies here in the studio who just happen to ride Harleys. I've got Courtney and Michelle here. Notice I left out the last names because it's too hard for me to do here in the studio. And we're going to talk about their riding experiences and what you're going to do out there on that at that garage party tomorrow. How did you start riding? What got you exposed to riding your own motorcycle?
Well, I'm pretty independent. My husband does ride, and I always want to go riding with him and everybody that goes. So instead of hopping on the back, I decided to take the initiative and take classes and get my own.
So you went and you went, took some lessons, learned how to do it. I'm sure your husband was very helpful in teaching you how to do that. And now you ride your own bike.
Yep.
And what's that like? I mean, is it different than sitting on the back, I suppose?
Yes, it's freeing. It makes you feel empowering. Very, it's a great feeling.
So you're kind of in charge in that respect. And you, oh, by the way, just happened to be one of the Harley girls out there, right? And you've got a regular job. You're a regular person, right?
Yeah.
You're not out there tearing things up,
No,
like.
I'm a nurse's assistant at a hospital, so.
And you just happen to ride a motorcycle. Now you have a different connection, don't you, Michelle? You work at Harley.
I do. I actually am the finance manager at Harley, F&I. But I've been riding for years, since '03.
F&I, and that's finance and insurance.
I do.
So if I wanted to go buy a bike out there, I'd have to go see you at some point.
Actually, you would end up with me. You would start with the salesman, and I'm your final person to speak to, and I definitely finance a lot of bikes for females.
Now, what came first? This is like a chicken and egg question. Did you start working there, then you started riding, or were you a rider and then you worked there?
Actually, I was a rider since '03. The thing is I was in banking for 20 years and decided to just, since I started riding, I actually love motorcycles, and that's what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do F&I for Harley-Davidson.
How did you get the initial bug, though, to ride?
Oh, just friends, actually engineer friends, own motorcycles, and all it took was one ride on the back and knew I wanted my own and decided to buy one, and I've had 3 since. So,
what's your family say of that? Were they kind of surprised that you wanted to ride your own bike?
They were surprised. I didn't ask permission. I just bought and brought it home and said, here you go. It was really surprising for everyone, but it's just to me, it's a sense of, a sense of freedom, very much so. Definitely freedom, stress relief for me after work, control. Just get out and ride, definitely just makes you just forget everything. You just enjoy
Courtney,
it.
how about you? How did you get the bug? Were you, were you just on the back and said, I could do this, it doesn't look hard? I mean, is that how it all started for you?
Well, actually, my husband got the bug first. His best friend started riding.
Right.
Has always rode. And it just was kind of contagious,
Yeah.
really.
And when you first started, were you intimidated at all by that? Were you afraid?
Well, I grew up riding four-wheelers and dirt bikes and going
Okay.
fast and everything. So it wasn't, the speed wasn't an issue, two wheels was an issue. It was the fact of being around vehicles on the road kind of scared me.
Yeah, it's not so much you, it's
Yeah.
the people all around you.
But when you take the classes, and you can take them at Harley, obviously, but they teach you how to look for things and what to do, and
It's really risk management,
Yes,
isn't it?
it
And
is.
having eyes in the back of your head.
it's that
and
control to
and
have.
picking and choosing when you're riding, where you're riding,
Yeah.
and just being smart about it, right?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So would you recommend it to your lady friends?
Oh yes,
Absolutely.
class for sure. Safety class is. I just think it's important, but it is a defensive type thing.
Well, Courtney and Michelle, thank you so much for coming on the show,
Thanks.
sharing your experience as lady riders. And tomorrow, you're going to be out there at Harley Davidson, right?
Yeah,
at that
Definitely.
garage party?
We will
Yes.
be there.
So if somebody want to come up and ask you some question, you'll be available to talk with them, right?
Be very happy
absolutely.
to.
All right, thanks again
Thank
for coming
you.
on the
Thank
show.
you.
And we will see you next time.